ostensibly this, it just goes preparing to live stream.
Yep. Just switch here.
We're waiting for you, Chris.
Yep. We are live streaming. We are good to go.
I can start.
You can start. Yes.
The meeting will come to order. The time is 5:33 p.m. on Monday, July 20th, 2026. This is a regular monthly meeting of the District of Columbia Commission on the Arts and Humanities. My name is Reggie Van Lee, Chairman of the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I'm an African-American man wearing a blue jacket and a blue shirt. I'll now call the roll. When you hear your name, please answer present. Commissioner Sims.
Present.
Commissioner Havamana. Commissioner Berry.
Here.
Commissioner Butler.
Present.
Commissioner Ward. Commissioner Torres. Commissioner Kim.
Present.
Commissioner Brienza.
Present.
Commissioner Menkiti. Commissioner O'Neill.
Present.
Commissioner Stedman.
Present.
A quorum is present. This is a meeting of a public body held in open session and is governed by the Open Meetings Act. Please address any questions or complaints arising under this meeting to the Office of Open Government at opengovoffice@dc.gov. Notice of the meeting was posted in the DC Register, on the Commission's website, dcrs.dc.gov, and on the DC Office of Open Government Central Meetings calendar at open-dc.gov. The meeting has been conducted in a hybrid format, with commissioners joining both in person and remotely using the Zoom meeting platform. The meeting is being live streamed to the Commission's YouTube channel. Electronic recording of the meeting will be available for viewing online following the conclusion of the meeting. Are there any objections to the agenda and minutes that were previously circulated from our June 15, 2026 regular meeting? Hearing no objections, the agenda for this meeting and minutes from the previous meeting stand as adopted. I'll now read the land acknowledgement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contribute their hopes, dreams, and energy to make the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived in this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the CAH and Piscataway people. We pay respects to the elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events, and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. Good evening and welcome to everyone. We have a robust agenda meeting this evening with reports from the committees, a grantee highlight, public commentary from members of the arts community, as well as a presentation from the National Association of State Arts Agencies, our strategic planning consultants, Opportunity Consulting, and a special announcement about upcoming programming. So let's get started. Is Daryl Chappelle with us? Mm-hmm. So tonight our grantee highlight is Daryl Chappelle of the Daryl Chappelle Foundation. Daryl, please proceed.
I'm just promoting him right now. Sharing.
Daryl, you're on.
Welcome. Good evening, Commissioner Van Lee, Executive Director Myers, commissioners, staff, and the public. So delighted to be here with you this evening. I'm Daryl Chappelle. I'm the founder, CEO of the Daryl Chappelle Foundation, headquartered there in the district. We have awarded since 2019 $140,000 to 100 artists. In DC specifically, since 2023, we've done programming with our partners at 11th Street Bridge Park, with the Baby Bloomers Farm at the Children's National Children's Center. Also, Artist Talk number 10 and number 8 DC there in the district. And tonight, delighted to share with you the work, because of your funding through the Small Cap Fiscal Year 2026 funding, our DC Digital Showcase. What we've heard from artists from again and again is the challenge in getting their artwork shown, either not having studio space, not having the capacity to show their work through their own internet. And so we took that feedback to heart. And through your funding, through your support, we did an open call for artists in the district, all 8 wards, to showcase their particular work and their opportunities to get their work seen. What we have tonight with you is non-constraints design. Brody in the actual DMV area, who collaborated with the Darryl Chappelle Foundation to get the word out for DC artists across the district. I am pleased to say that we received over 5,000 actual users during this open call period from February to April. We had 1,519 website visits. We also had through applications, we had applications throughout the district. And then we actually selected 4 artists who will be featured on the Darryl Chappelle Foundation website. Yes, there is a presentation. I should have asked for that, but I'm just going to keep talking regardless. There's a presentation. I'm sure you all prefer the presentation than my talking head, but apologies for that. And so we're just so delighted to provide these 4 artists with a $500 honorarium, unrestricted cash, and also 6 months to be featured on the DC Digital Showcase website. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Brody, who was a phenomenal partner, and have him explain the actual process and share with you the artists that were selected.
Thanks, Daryl. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brody. I pretty much grew up in the DMV area between DC and PG County. I was hired directly to assist Daryl with getting this open call out. I'm also an artist myself, and Daryl and the Darryl Chappelle Foundation actually hosted my artist talk in Southeast. I believe it was in 2024. I believe I was artist talk number 24. I believe that was, or 18. Daryl can probably correct me for that. I don't know who's controlling the presentation, but if you can slide up for me. Or back up. But I can go, okay, right, scroll right down. Right there. Yes, appreciate it. So this is my 3 pillars of basically how I wanted to interact with the DC. Like I said, I'm born and raised in the area, so my first initiative was to reach out to the Black HBCUs in DC, which is UDC and Howard University. I have different contacts at both of these universities to reach out to the department deans of the art department to see what students there actually have some type of vision towards where they want their artwork to be and how they actually can show their artwork. So my initial reach was to, like I said, to Howard University and UDC, speaking to both of them. And from my understanding, which they confirmed, multiple flyers that I actually created was printed out and posted across the campus in order for students to understand what was going on within the program. I was supposed to actually go speak at Howard, but different things came through, and that I guess task like fell through. But I'm probably going to be going to speak there maybe the next month or two. And I'm still probably going to talk about the Darryl Foundation and actually engage with the artists in DC to see where they want to actually go. My next step was the Black Art Foundation Today, which in 2024, which was the foundation, the business partner with the Darryl Chappelle Foundation. I'm also a cohort of the Black Art Today Foundation. I've shown in multiple of their exhibits. Currently, one is on show at the Harmon Hall in Fort Washington, Maryland. Reaching out to them and passing them some of the same information and flyers. They reposted some of that same information on their social media platforms and spread the word to different artists within inside the DC area, so they can have opportunities to engage within this open call, which was put on by the Darryl Chappelle Foundation. My next period was social media amplification. So I probably have about a little over 20,000 followers on myself. So with me and my creative process, I created multiple designs. In total, there were 9 that will assist with the open call. My undergrad degree is in fine arts. I graduated from Bowie State University. So I also study graphic design. So colorism, color theory, not colorism, but color theory and how to catch somebody's eye with artwork is pretty much everything I do with my art, and I planned on doing that and actually executed that with the flyers that I created for the Dale Chappelle Foundation. You can scroll up for me or down, sorry about that. Right here is the interactions that we posted. Like I said, majority of my following is on Instagram. The very first post was a live post that I did, which was introducing the open call. That got 1,381 views. You all can probably just see them there. It was 101 reactions, and that was 7.3% of the engagement. That was the highest engagement. I've learned that the more I speak in front of like my artwork and speak towards whatever the mission is, it's more of a higher return or higher viewpoint. And I actually, that color palette, I feel like just had a stronger base. The next one was on Facebook, which was actually a post, which was another open call that got 142 views, 7 interactions, 4.9%. And the next two are actually Instagram stories, another open call, 58 views, and the last one was 70 views. You might notice on the last one, there was a barcode. Daryl wanted to include a barcode on the actual flyers that would take them directly to the open call application, so they can apply directly from that barcode. If you can scroll down again. So what you see here are the 9 different flyers that I created, incorporating what the mission of the actual open call was, which was reaching the Afro-descendant community based in Washington, D.C., also including some of the artists that are directly associated with the Dale Chappelle Foundation. These are artists that Dale have used on his platform to actually uplift their artwork from all over the country. So he thought it was a great idea to actually include those so you can actually see some of the people actually doing their work to understand the mission and the purpose behind the Dale Chappelle Foundation. You can scroll up one more time. And these are the 4 artists that were selected for the program. Natalie Courtney out of Ward 5, Kinjin Dulani, Ward 1, Jorge Brunades, Ward 4, and Tanzi and Anthony. And apologies if I butchered their names. I apologize for that. I tried to study before, but yeah, those are the 4 artists that were selected for the application.
What was the last award?
Ward
What
1.
award were there? Okay.
Ward 1. Thank
Bodie,
y'all.
thank you so much. It's been a delight working with you. We look forward to working with you in the future. And in closing for the commission, I just wanted to acknowledge the work the commission is doing with NASA. We're delighted to see all of the state arts agency coming to the district in October. We sit on the National Creative Youth Development Funders Forum. I asked the commission to really take the lead in this space with regard to creative youth development, get more involved at the national level, in particular as it relates to mental health with young people. Thank you so much. It was delightful to be here. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you both, Daryl and Brody. Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
work. Glad to see our investment is being spread in the way it's being spread. Thank you. Moving on to our public comment portion. We have Kyle Rumpler from DC's Different Drummers and Gilbert Trent signed up for public comment. Commission welcomes your comments. They're very important to us. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please address your remarks to the chair. Note that we will not be engaging into dialogue at this time. The purpose of this agenda items for you, the public, to inform us, the commission, about your views. If members of the public have factual questions, staff will be glad to follow up via email. When I call your name, you may begin your comments. Mr. Rumpler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my name is Kyle Rumpler. I am the treasurer of DC's Different Drummers. So I wanted to share some of the written comments that we submitted ahead of time. So as a 7-time grant recipient, DC's Different Drummers continues to be thankful for the generous financial support and enthusiasm shown to our organization by the commission year after year. As we near the end of our fiscal year on July 31st, it seemed prudent to reflect on the year and share the impact of the commission's support. Since we last presented comments to the commission back in January of this year, DCUD has had several reasons to celebrate. First, our color guard finished their busy season performing all over the DMV in March with a record level of membership. Second, our symphonic band presented its Voices Lifted spring concert, featuring a program of pieces written or arranged by people of color to an audience of over 400, roughly matching the record set at their fall 2025 show. Third, our jazz band continued its partnership with the DC Public Library System to once again give a free public concert. They were also invited to perform at Glen Echo's summer concert series in June, introducing our organization and music to a new audience. Finally, the marching band and color guard participated in several Pride events across DC, including Capitol Pride's parade and festival, and ended their season with the Palisades 4th of July parade. Building on momentum from previous year's events, the marching band, color guard, and jazz band were asked to perform at the National Geographic Museum's grand opening in June and have been invited to the Washington Spirit's upcoming Pride Night. These opportunities prove just how important our organization is to this community. As our artistic staff finalize plans for our ensembles for the 2026-27 season, and as our board works to strategize the direction for our growing organization for the coming years, we want to reiterate our sincere appreciation to the Commission for supporting us year after year. Without the funding that you all provide, DCD simply could not operate at the level of excellence that our membership and audience have come to expect. Whether that means providing free public performances across DC, paying our incredible artistic and administrative staff stipends for their time and talent, or finding new venues for our ever-growing membership, DCCAH's support is transformational. We recognize that in the current economic climate, donations have slowed and we're more dependent on membership dues to subsidize our activities. We make a concerted effort to balance this burden with our Good Fairy Fund, a reserve fund to help minimize financial barriers to participation. But grant funding is an essential part of our operating budget, and we're really grateful that the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities has been a consistent supporter of our work and mission. Thank you all so much, and we hope to see you in the audience for one of our shows this coming year.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Next comments from Mr. Gilbert Trent. Mr. Trent?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gilbert Trent. I'm here this evening to propose a sign, a street name for Dolores Kendricks, who was the DC Poet Laureate. She was appointed the Poet Laureate in 99. Not 99, maybe. Anyway, she was appointed by Mayor Barry. Anthony Williams back in 19, I can't think of. But anyway, Dolores was born in September 27 here in Washington, D.C. to the parents of musician and art teacher. Her father was the founding publisher of the Capitol Spotlight. She grew up in the LaDroit Park neighborhood near Harvard University. She attended Dunbar High School, where she began writing poetry and went to the Manners Teachers College to study English, earning a bachelor's degree in 1949. She earned a master's degree in linguistics from Georgetown University in 1970. As a part of the Experienced Teacher Fellowship Program, she designed the humanities curriculum for DC School Without Walls, where she was a co-founder. In 1963, she received a Fulbright teacher exchange to go to Belfast, Northern Ireland. She published her first book of poetry, Through the Ceiling, in 1975, followed by Now is the Time to Praise in 1984. Kendricks was a Vera I Hines Professor Emerita at Phillips Exeter Academy. She adapted The Woman's of Plum for theater, which won the 1997 New York New Playwright Award. Then she further adapted into a digital CD, The Color of Dust, with Wall Matthew and Aletha Green. Dolores served as she served as the District of Columbia Poet Laureate, using the power of language to uplift, educate, and inspire residents of DC and beyond. Her work and legacy continues to honor the voice of our ancestors and provide hope, strength, and pride in our communities today. Dedicating a street or way in her name is a fitting tribute to her lasting contribution to literature and the District of Columbia. This street stands as a lasting tribute to her legacy and a commitment to keeping her spirit of creativity, justice, and storytelling alive. So again, she was a resident of, we are both residents of Ward 6. She was, we lived in the same building. She just lived a couple of doors down from me. And so to have her name in honor of, just because she made such impact on DC, and again, not just DC, but throughout the country and the world. I'm an artist, and she always was in support of me and my art. And I think this will be a major gift to DC and the residents in Ward 6, but not just Ward 6, throughout DC. I became familiar with the street's name. I was doing a project. I was commissioning a painting for a friend of mine, and we were working with, she wanted this painting to be influenced by Elma Thomas. And so doing my research, I went down to 15th Street, and I looked up and I saw this sign that said Elma Thomas Way. And then at that point, I thought, wow, that would be great to see that for Dolores. So hopefully we will get this moving, and I appreciate this opportunity, this forum, to bring in members from the community to offer their need and desire for contributions that great artists contribute to DC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Even though my notes always say we do not engage in dialogue at this time, know that there are several members of the commission that are very much supportive of this street name. We did not have a full conversation, so I can't say the full commission, but a number of us, almost a majority so far, who've been engaged in this conversation are supportive. So I think you'll find however we can be helpful, we'd like to be helpful.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much. Now the commissioner will call Deputy Director David Martin to present the director's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Markey. I'm a middle-aged white man with gray hair, and I am wearing a dark blue polo.
I didn't even have to say our age.
We don't. I take that back then. I'm in my late 30s. I have 4 updates for you. The first is around some of the engagement with other city agencies. But first, happy Disability Pride Month. Since our last meeting, CAH has continued strengthening our partnerships across district government and the broader creative ecosystem. We've also implemented several accessibility-centered updates to our visual identity. CAH has officially updated our agency logo to improve accessibility and visibility across both digital and print platforms. For those viewing the director's report visually, you may already notice the updated design. The new logo moves us away from the use of red, as red on white can be harmful for individuals with vision sensitivity, and instead the 3 main versions adopt black, white, and a new shade of teal that increases contrast and supports better readability. We also adjusted the logo's text layout from 1 line to 2 lines, ensuring that the language remains legible at smaller sizes on printed materials. These changes reflect the agency's ongoing commitment to accessibility, inclusion, and thoughtful design. CAH continues to nurture and strengthen partnerships throughout district government. Our new collaboration is with the Mayor's Office on African American Affairs and the DC Department of Parks and Recreation for the Culture Quest Kids Fest, STEAM and Creativity Lab. This free community festival will celebrate culture, creativity, reading, literacy, and STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, through interactive learning experiences, youth activities, and live entertainment. CAH will serve as a co-host on August 29th at the Deanwood Recreation Center from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., and we encourage commissioners and families across the district to join us. We have also expanded our partnerships to advance accessibility and disability inclusion in the arts. CAH is collaborating with the Office of Human Rights, the Office of Disability Rights, and the DC Developmental Disabilities Council for Access to Expression, Celebrating Inclusive Arts in the District, an event commemorating the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. The evening will feature an art exhibition at DC Public Library, inclusive and accessible community resources, and a panel discussion, including participation from yours truly here, focused on building a more inclusive arts community. The event will take place on Wednesday, July 22nd, so this coming Wednesday at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. CAH continues to strengthen its relationship with the district's cultural pillar, the Go-Go. Through our Summer Go-Go series, presented in partnership with Sycamore and Oak, we are proud to feature performances that uplift and spotlight this historic DC genre. The next event will showcase Black Alley and Plug-In Band on Thursday, July 23rd from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Sycamore and Oak. Recently, we hosted an event in our I Street Gallery this past Saturday, July 18th, as part of the Rip Tear Collage as Critique exhibition. The day featured vinyl vendors, music, small bites from local businesses, and a dynamic conversation with renowned DJ King Britt on music and sound as forms of collage.
And I'm told we had how many people?
100. Corinne's here. 100.
100 people.
To
I
close
always
out,
brag about that because when I arrived, we had like very few people in the gallery. So I'm really delighted that we have a lot of people in the gallery. Sorry.
to close out the exhibition, we will host a final reception featuring a collage workshop and appearances by the exhibiting artists on Thursday, August 6th in the I Street Gallery from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We again encourage all commissioners and members of the public to join us for this creative and community-centered celebration. We encourage everyone to stay connected and help share these opportunities across your network. A quick update on grants. I know my colleague Nikita Chambers is going to report out on the grants department in a little bit. We have three opportunities, I should say, that are still open. Two of them close this coming Thursday. It's the Arts and Humanities Education Project grants and the Field Trip Experiences grant. Both of those close on July 24th at 5 p.m. Oh, 5 p.m. Friday, sorry. Thank you. Sorry, I was just being told it's Friday, 5 p.m. Not to cause any panic with applicants. And you can find details of that if you haven't already done so on the agency's website. And then the Public Art Building Communities Grant, which I know Corinne will touch on, that closes this coming Monday. Yes, the 27th. The strategic plan later in the evening will be joined by our strategic planning consultants who will share an update on everything happening there. But last week, CAH concluded stakeholder listening sessions with grantees, the general public, and agency partners through the Interagency Creative Coalition. Our strategic planner is now incorporating all the feedback received into the first draft of CAH's 2026 through 2030 strategic plan. We are just moving into the next phase of public engagement. So beginning this week, CAH is inviting arts and humanities professionals, organizations, grantees, and community members to review and provide feedback on the strategic plan draft. To support broad participation, CAH will host multiple public feedback opportunities, including both in-person and virtual sessions through the 31st of this month. Community members may also submit anonymous written comments. And additional instructions will be provided on the CAH website and strategic planning website. All feedback received between July 21st and July 31st will be considered as CAH prepares the final 2026 through 2030 strategic plan. Commissioners are encouraged to share these opportunities with their networks to help ensure strong community participation. And then finally, our budget. Following the Council's July 7th consideration of the FY 2027 Budget Support Act, CAH remains in a strong fiscal position. The Council did not reduce or eliminate any previously restored funding for the agency. Instead, the changes made were technical adjustments to how a small number of legislatively directed grants are administered, not to the funding levels themselves. Earlier this spring, the Mayor's proposed budget reduced CAH's operating budget due to lower dedicated tax revenues. However, the Council restored this funding during the Committee of the Whole review, recommending a total FY 2027 budget of approximately $47,586,000. This amount includes CAH's operating support as well as directed grants for Ford's Theatre, Woolly Mammoth Theatre Company, and Levine Music. The latest legislative update keeps all of those funding amounts intact. The Budget Support Act simply moves several directed grants into CAH's enabling statute for FY27, clarifying how they should be administered. These grants, $2 million towards theater, $100,000 for living music, and up to $500,000 for Woolly Mammoth remain separate from CAH's competitive grant programs and do not affect eligibility for general operating support or other merit-based opportunities. In summary, the Council's July 7th action preserved CAH's resources and clarified grant administration processes. CAH remains in the stronger fiscal position established earlier in the budget cycle, and staff will continue monitoring final enactment and certification. And with that, I believe before we introduce the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, I believe I'm turning it over to
But first, let me see, any questions or comments from the commissioners on the director's report? Good, sorry.
Okay, no, thanks, Reggie. I believe I'm turning it over to Commissioner O'Neill. Commissioner O'Neill, are you presenting out or giving us an update?
Yes, I'm announcing of sorts. I'm excited to share with all of you. It's a project I've been working on for some time, but I think it's really impactful for our arts community, and I'm excited to share a little bit more. So at the end of August, launching on August 26th and running through August 30th, is something called Femme Art Fair, which is going to be an all-women's art fair that we are hosting in the same space that Umbrella Art Fair was in last year. And so we plan to have over 100 visual artists. There will be programming for about 4 days. We will have programming that centers around everything from women in food and women in performance art to women in finance and construction. We have some incredible thought leadership that's all going to be going on concurrently while the art fair is going from Women's Equality Day, which is August 26th, to the 30th. And we have really exciting news that the Guerrilla Girls are going to be joining us both for a presentation. They will be part of the exhibit, and we will be honoring them. My organization is called Our Daughters Futures Fund. It's a 501c3, and we got a grant from the Women Moving Millions matching grant to put on this all women's art fair. And the tagline of this is that this is a market correction. And so 100% of all of the sales of the artwork go back to the artists. And with a portion of the ticket sales, we'll be able to give out small scholarships as part of this. And we've been working really hard on this since the beginning of the year. And I'm just really excited to share this with all of you. And I hope that I will send out all of the proper, invitations and information, but you can go to femartfair.com and learn more about our press release went live today. All the artists are listed. Most of the artists anyways are listed on the website, and the programming will be dropping throughout the next week or two.
Great, very exciting. Very exciting. Thank you. Thank you. It's great.
So next up is the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies. Chris, do we have Katie or Sylvia?
One moment, we advance them.
So as Chris is promoting to panelist, and so many of you are aware that the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities is part of a larger network of state arts agencies. We're one of 56 state and sort of territorial jurisdictional agencies across the city. So a pretty robust network. We rely heavily on one another to provide advice, support, guidance, that type of thing. And every 2 years, there is what is called an assembly. So representatives from each of the state arts agencies from across the country come together. And as Daryl Chappelle mentioned earlier, this year they are convening in Washington, D.C. In early October. So with that, I see some familiar faces on the screen from NASA, as it's fondly known. So I will turn it over to them. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having us. It's wonderful to be with you this evening. My name is Katie Hughes. I am the Senior Development Manager at NASA, and it's always a treat to join a state or jurisdictional arts agency commission meeting because one of the best parts of working at NASA is seeing the incredible work our members do every day. So super happy to be here with you. Thank you for making space for us. And today, Eric and I are going to share a bit about NASA, who we are, what we do, and then tell you what's in store for Assembly 2026. Some of you are familiar with NASA, but for those who aren't, NASA is, as David said, the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan professional association for all 56 state and jurisdictional arts councils. And we are all about you. Our mission is simple: to strengthen state and jurisdictional arts agencies. We don't serve the whole arts field. We focus squarely on you because we know the arts are a public good, and we believe in the work that you do because you help ensure the arts are shared resources for everyone. So basically, the arts strengthen communities, you strengthen the arts, and NASA strengthens you. That's why we're here. We're an independent 501c3, but most of our funds come from public dollars. So we've kind of got one foot in the nonprofit world and one in the government realm. And on the government side, we receive NEA funding just like DC does. And a portion of our budget comes from member dues as well. On the nonprofit side, we get private contributions, which are vital because they pay for policy and advocacy work that we do that government funds can't. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who has supported NASA in the past from DC. Thank you so much. It really, really matters to us, especially during these times. And there are three main ways we serve state arts agencies like yourself: knowledge, representation, and community. We call it the KRC. So knowledge is, put it simply, NASA knows state arts agencies inside and out. And if we don't know something, we will find out for you. We provide comparative data and information on best practices. We also offer professional development programming to help you grow your knowledge and skills. We have free virtual learning series that you can access, and I encourage you to do so. And then we also convene our members on every other year. It's assembly, which brings the whole field together. And we'll speak to more of that in a bit. Representation is where we advocate for your agency with Congress, and we advocate for the National Endowment for the Arts. We work to secure federal funding for the NEA and protect that flexibility of those dollars that go to states and jurisdictions. The 40% of the NEA's grant budget goes directly to states and regional arts agencies. And that partnership, that federal-state partnership, helps both levels of government accomplish more together than either could alone. And so NASA amplifies the perspectives of all states and jurisdictions, bringing more data, more stories, and more credibility to the conversations with policymakers. Sometimes I like to think of it as like advocating for arts can sometimes feel like whispering into a crowd, but together through NASA, we have a megaphone, which is really, really powerful. Finally, there's NASA's role as a community. State arts agencies are pretty much like unicorns within state governments. You're one of the very few state agencies that does grant making, and one of the, maybe even the only one that deals with the arts. And that can be pretty lonely. So NASA offers a professional community. We provide peer networking and convening that helps you connect with all your fellow arts unicorns in other states. And so with 56 states and jurisdictions, you have 56 different economies, cultures, geographies, and political landscapes. Each one is unique, but we all have things to learn from each other, and there's value in that connection. And that value kind of speaks to why we do assemblies every other year. So we bring people together in order to learn from each other, inspire people, etc. But before we dive into assemblies, I just want to say one more thing kind of about chairs and commission members. Commissioners who you might hear us sometimes refer to as council members. You guys are full members of NASA. You can access all of our information and our services. And we offer online peer groups for commissioners, like specifically for you all. And so we're holding one later this summer, so keep an eye out. We also have a website strictly like solely for commissioners that has a lot of resources on there, and I will include it in the chat for you all too. And I highly encourage you to look at that. And then we will have a special session at Assembly as well. And we have a special communication too called the Reports to Councils. So keep an eye out for that. If you ever get an email from NASA that says Reports to Councils, it's a great tool for you guys to learn about what's happening in the field and see what other states are doing. So I will go back to Assembly now. NASA Assembly 2026, we're very excited to come to DC this year. I want to thank you guys for the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities for partnering with us to host Assembly. Hosting colleagues from all over, like 56 states and jurisdiction, is no small undertaking. And so we're incredibly grateful for your partnership and generosity. And we can't wait to introduce our members to the incredible work happening here in the district. So with that, I'll turn it over to Eric, who will give you a preview of what's in store.
Thank you, Katie. Hello, everyone. I am Eric Giles. I'm NASA's Community Learning Director. So I'm basically the architect behind our conferences and online learning here. Thanks for giving me a few minutes to talk a little bit about the Assembly. This is really, I consider this one of my babies as we kind of work through this, our online learning and our learning services. And I just wanted to share a quick overview of what NASA's 2026 Assembly is going to look like, and more importantly, the unique opportunity it presents for DC and the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. As I think Katie mentioned, Assembly is the largest annual gathering of state and jurisdictional arts agency leaders from across the U.S. So Assembly attendees represent every state and jurisdiction. It's one of the most influential gatherings in the public arts sector. This conference is going to take place in Washington, D.C. this year, October 7th through 9th. And it will bring together executive directors, commissioners, program managers, policy leaders from all the state arts agencies and regional arts organizations. And collectively, they oversee billions of dollars in public investment in the arts. So it's a really big deal. Rather than simply hosting a conference, this year, one of our Assembly goals in D.C. is to really showcase Washington, D.C. is a national model for arts leadership, innovation, and community engagement. So this conference isn't just about presentations where arts leaders exchange ideas and build partnerships, often take home new policy and programs to implement in their own states. We are hoping to get out and about in DC quite a bit, and we have planned that and baked that into our agenda. We plan on it. That is in the hopes that DC, just by being who it is and making itself available, is going to demonstrate the strength of its cultural community firsthand, and it's also going to position CAH as the national leader we see it in arts policy and public investment. Like I mentioned, one of the defining features this year is that we're getting out of the hotel. We're going to bring attendees into neighborhoods and cultural institutions throughout the city. The conference will begin with an opening reception that night of October 7th at Culture DC. So we're really looking forward to an amazing opening networking party at Culture DC, kind of showing off a lot of what's going on there. And thank you to those of your colleagues for helping us find these locations and get people lined up there. One of the big features at the Assembly this year is we've got some extended time set aside for our 9 job-alike peer groups that are meeting there. So they'll have an entire afternoon to meet together. Some of those peer groups are going to have some pre-conference time. For instance, community development peer group is going to be meeting at the Han Fleur Gallery off-site. They're going to go to the Go-Go Museum. They're going to see what's going on in Anacostia. Our arts education Professional Development Institute activities will be at Planet Word, Woolly Mammoth Theater, Folk and Traditional Arts PDI participants are going to be going to the Anacostia Community Museum, Library of Congress. And during the actual assembly itself, all of our peer groups are going to be out of the hotel. So they'll be at locations like the Phillips Collection, Atlas Performing Arts Center, Herrick House, O Street Mansion and Museum, and a variety of other locations throughout the DC area. Like I mentioned, these offsite experiences are going to really allow visitors to engage directly with Washington's cultural landscape and introduce them to some of the organizations and neighborhoods they probably never see otherwise. We all know how it is in DC. People come to DC and they stick to the mall. We want to get them away from the mall. We want to get them down into the neighborhoods and to see what's actually happening out there and see how vibrant it is off the mall. We also have CAH featured in our conference programming. So we have a session working with David on that's going to highlight CAH's work with incarcerated artists and returning citizens. It's going to really provide an opportunity for folks to see the innovative approaches you all have, and to see that national relevance of that, have some interaction with folks related to that. The broader conference is also going to explore topics related to public arts. So the public arts managers nationwide are going to go on a tour as part of their peer group led by members of CAH to kind of see what's going on out and about. They're going to ride the metro. They're going to get the real experience in DC. We'll have some other, members that kind of presenting on the thing and other areas like technology transformation, AI, creative aging. So we're really trying to infuse things throughout this. Basically, we wanted to make sure that the programming for the assembly really positioned you not simply as a host city, but as a valuable contributor to the national conversation and a key member to building and showcasing on. To wrap things up, I don't want to move on. You can ask me questions as much as you would like, but there are a few ways that I think you as commissioners, can really make this opportunity even more impactful. First, you're our members. We want you to be there. So come to the assembly, attend all the sessions, come to the opening recession, really engage. Take advantage of us being in your city, and you don't have to travel for it. Just pop in, let us know. You're going to be there. We'd love to see you there. If you are able to join us, I think we'd love for you to take the opportunity to really welcome attendees. Like, get to know them at the opening reception. If you're comfortable doing so, whenever you're talking to your peers and networking with folks, play up the local arts and culture in DC. Turn your fellows from across the country onto the great work that the Commission on Arts and Humanities is doing. Enlighten them to the amazing artists and organizations in DC's. Send them links on their phone to artist websites. Make them aware of what's going on and how great DC is as an art city. I think that will help us ensure that attendees not only leave with new professional knowledge, but really with a lasting impression of DC as something more than just the place where the federal government resides. That it's one of the country's leading arts communities. Thank you all for having me here. Katie, am I missing anything? Do you have anything to add?
Thanks, Eric. I don't think so. Please, as Eric said, we would love to see all of you there. It is wonderful when our host has a huge showing and just can help with welcoming folks. I guess I will add a little bit, just a couple details about the chair and commission peer group session at Assembly. We are having networking opportunities. We're going to do networking opportunities, of course, but we're also hoping to dive into some state level advocacy work and have some leadership from the NEA present at that session. So that's another great reason to come to the whole thing, but also for that session on Thursday afternoon too. Does anybody have any questions? Or David, do you want us to mention anything else?
I have a
No, I
question.
think it's okay. Oh, go on, Julianne.
I think I might be frozen. Okay, now I'm unfrozen. You mentioned that there's like a website, or part of your website is for commissioners or something. It would be
Yeah.
great if someone could direct the commissioners that are here, like what that is. We'd love to know.
Yes, so I put it in the chat link. But I just kind of put the link in without
Oh, I
anything
see it
on
at the top. I
Yes, at
see
the
it at
very
the top.
top.
I
Yes.
got it.
But
got
on
it.
there are some advocacy tools that we think are really helpful for commissioners. There's also a really great resource, citizens versus councils, or citizens for councils. I'm sorry, the title is eluding me, but it is great for any new commission members because it really talks about the public service role versus the nonprofit board service, because as you know, it's quite different coming onto a board such as this, where your job is different, to provide resources to everyone, not just a select few of audience members. So that's on there. There's links to our monthly newsletter, links to some NASA research. And I think there are some copies of that publication I was talking about, the Reports to Councils publication. Yes, and just ways to be connected. It's a really one-stop shop for commissioners. That if you have any questions about any resources on there, let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Katie, Eric, and Sylvia. Yeah, I can't reiterate enough the support the agency feels, not only with the data that you provide to us, our own data oftentimes, but your ability to slice and dice it so we can better tell our story. But also the support, among the peer groups. It really is important to have a sounding board, and someone that, I know personally I've been able to reach out and ask questions of fellow deputy directors across the country. So we're really excited about hosting you. We're really excited about growing the relationship. So thank you so much for presenting.
I just echo David's thanks. And I, in my 5 years as chair, gotten a lot of value from the reports and data and information that you provide. And my annual opportunity to speak with your colleague and comment on how things are going. So I appreciate that. And obviously, we're really excited over the hosting of the event here. And we plan to show up and show out.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. And thanks, David. I'm so glad you guys
Thank you so
get
much.
a lot from NASA. It's great to hear.
And we'll see you at the conference.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks a lot.
Sounds wonderful.
Bye. Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
I think next we move on to the grants committee. So Nikita Chambers, I think, our new senior grants manager. Is that the chairman? Did I get the title right?
Supervisory grants.
Supervisor, yes. Nikita, you're on.
Good afternoon, Commissioner, CAH staff. Again, I am Nikita Chambers, the new Supervisory Grants Program Officer. I'm going to give you all a presentation on the FY26. I'm going to start off with the FY26 grant cycle. As you all know, the grant managers continue to review the FY26 reports so that the second payments can be approved and the year end can close out. Some reports are easy to navigate through for them to approve. Others require back and forth with the grantees to ensure that any programmatic narratives and issues align with the scope of the work in the grant. All while this is taking place, the grant managers are also knee deep into the FY27 programming, getting their panels together and everything. So starting the application vetting so that we can start moving forward with the FY27 awards. Large capital grant projects, awards approved in the amount of 3.45 million by the commission in March are still on hold as we await the Budget Support Act. Grant manager Shari Feldman, she spearheads this program. She's ready to issue the agreements as soon as we receive the green light. We also have some interns, Andrea, who's a part of my team. This was her project, and we have 6 new interns that's working with us this summer throughout the agency. As we move forward into the FY27 grant cycle, is usually split into 2 cycles as we onboard the new submittable grants and submittables this year. We created rolling application cycles, which has meant to be for grant managers, creating new guidelines, conducting applicant workshops, securing and orienting panelists, and facilitating different panels. So if you see a grant manager, if you got questions, or just tell them simply, just thank you, because they are in knee deep with a lot that's going on, trying to close out FY26 and get FY27 underway. Panel dates in July, we had East Ops, we had general operating support and projects, events, and festivals. August, September, we'll have the Arts and Humanities Fellowships and Capital Projects. The fellowships closed early in July with approximately 850 applications. Capital Projects small, they also closed earlier this month with approximately 70 applications. The application numbers are similar to last year's applicant pool. The Arts and Humanities, Education Projects, and Field Trips Experiences grants are scheduled to close this upcoming week. They will be paneled in late August, early September. FY27 award announcements. We plan to announce all but one slate of awards by mid-October. Fellowships will be announced at the end of October. The funding framework, each fall grants department meets to assess and address any pain points that have arisen over the course of the annual grant cycle. I know that my team and I, at the end of September, we will be having a lessons learned on what worked, what didn't work, what we need to change, if anything. The hope is that we will also enable the grant staff to engage, with success in all parts of this process. We are very proud that the agency has been able to spearhead 1,800 plus applications and issue approximately 1,200 grants in each of the last several years. Ascending these frameworks will also allow us to better marry community needs to personal resources and align them both with the budget. Data, what gets measured, what gets funded? With the transition to submittable this year, we decided to take a look at our reporting process and requirements to determine relevant questions, sets, and things that require uniqueness to each of our grant programs. We removed the quantitative questions from the interim reports. We plan to meet in August to discuss how question sets for final reports will be crafted to help us better understand the work and the impact of our grantees, to help the agency create a compelling, valuable proposition and better tell our story, our impactful story. That concludes the grant report for this month. Any questions?
Any questions from the commissioners? Thank you, Nikita. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Going on to public art, Carla or Corinne?
Yeah.
Carla?
I am here.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Commissioner
Good
Carla
afternoon.
Sims. I'm wearing a yellow t-shirt. And before we go into the details, I want to take a moment to just recognize the public arts team for what has been a really remarkable and productive period. This quarter, the team brought DC's community arts together, DC's arts community together in some very powerful ways. From the Rip Tear Collages critique exhibition to the Hometown DC initiatives and the DC Public Art Map, making the DC Public Arts more accessible than ever. Behind the scenes, they've had a full slate of grant programs, and they've just covered a lot of ground, and it reflects the dedication and care from everyone on the team. And I just wanted to acknowledge them. The manager, PAC manager, Corinne Miller, is going to walk us through the full report. She's been the helm at this amazing team, which includes Michelle May Curry, Dion Darden, Courtney Speakman, Stephanie Hinton, Vanessa Ackerman, Carrie Kennedy, and Louise Hammond. So, Corinne, I'll turn it over to you, and you can take us through the highlights.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Sims. Good evening, everyone. My name is Corinne Miller. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a white woman with glasses, brown hair, and I'm wearing a teal shirt this evening. And I'm proud to serve as the Public Arts Manager here at the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. So the Public Art Committee met on July 8th, and I'm happy to provide an update from that meeting. So Commissioner Sims mentioned, but the Public Arts Department has been supporting Hometown DC, which is a really special initiative that was developed with Humanities DC, DC History Center, and DC Public Library. It's a community-driven public history and art project highlighting the voices of district residents through oral history interviews, outdoor installations at libraries in all 8 wards, and free public events. This project offers a portrait of life in DC as the United States marks its 250th anniversary with an opening event that was held on Wednesday, June 17th at the DC History Center. And you can see a little sneak peek image in the report from that event. The FY26 Juried Exhibition Grant Program has already been mentioned. We have another very successful exhibition in the gallery called Rip Tear Collages Critique. We had 350 guests to the I Street Gallery for the opening on June 11th. And the exhibition calls on 23 DC artists who use collage as a conceptual approach to reconciling the fractured, fast-paced, and often contradictory stories and symbols of American history and modern life. David mentioned the event last Saturday on July 18th with DJ King Britt. We had 100 people there, vinyl vendors, vintage vendors, DJ. It was a really, really cool event on a Saturday evening. Press for the exhibition has been really positive, including appearances in Broadway World, Hyperallergic, Collage Magazine, the Washington Glass School, and today WPFW. So we have one final event. I think David also mentioned that'll be on August 6th from 6 to 8. It'll be really cool and different. It'll have hands-on workshops with 3 of the exhibiting artists. So everyone will have a chance to be an artist themselves as well. So the FY27 Art Bank program applications are currently under review by 5 different panel groups. Collectively, these groups are going to review 320 eligible submissions in 2 rounds. So first virtually and then a second round with the finalist artworks brought in person into the gallery. And then many of these finalist artworks will be featured in the exhibition and at the opening reception for DC Art Now, which will be held on Thursday, September 10th from 6 to 8 p.m., which is basically the eve of Art All Night as a way to kick off that exciting weekend. The FY27 Art Exhibition Curatorial Grant Program closed on Monday, June 29th with 17 submissions. The grant line will support 2 exhibitions, one with a social justice theme and another with an open theme. These proposals were vetted for eligibility and will be sent to panel later this month in July. The FY26 Color the Curb School Safety Program, just a quick update on that. The grantees completed their classroom engagement, so they go into schools and they're preparing reports with engagement practices used, mural designs, and then the installations will begin once designs are approved later this month. The FY26 Fresh Paint DC, our new mural program, all the grantees are in our system and ready to submit invoices. The grantees have begun their community engagement, meeting with community partners, doing site visits, and so forth. And then we've had some really exciting projects through our Public Art Building Communities program. A reception and artist talk was held with Edgar Reyes, Los Vemos Pronto, see you soon, on June 27th at the Mexican Cultural Institute. The grantees for that are Nicholson Project in partnership with Hamiltonian artists. And they presented a conversation with Edgar Reyes and Josie Corona. Next Saturday, July 25th, there'll be a reception and artist talk with that project as well with AJ McLennan's Vega Travel Run 598 to 356 at the Hyrick House here in DC. So the Public Art Building Communities grant line for FY27, as David mentioned, will close next Monday, July 27th at 5 p.m. We've done a lot of outreach in terms of workshops, final questions, review, and so forth. Just a few more updates. We've been very busy. As far as collections management, the Art Bank artwork selections, installations, and deinstallations continue. It remains very high in demand and includes a new collaboration to install works in DC public schools and teen health clinics. So the team facilitated sessions for students from high schools to review artworks, and the students selected pieces for school clinics that are run by the Department of Health. Not to bury the lead, but we also have a DC public art map. There's a little clip in the report from that. It's something that the team's worked on for more than a year now, and that's been launched. And we've been working with our colleagues in the communications department. We worked with the Office of the Chief Technology Officer to build this, and there's a link in the report to the map, and it's on our website as well. So a couple other quick updates. We're working on wrapping up the FY25 Public Arts Annual Report, and at the same time working on developing the FY27 Public Arts Work Plan, which will help articulate our work and goals for the coming year. So that's what I've got. If folks have questions, happy to answer them.
Questions from the commissioners? As usual, it's a lot. Lots going on. It's fantastic. We love it. We love it. Carl, anything else?
Not from this end. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance, Janice.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Kim, and I'm a East Asian woman wearing blue shirt today. And the Finance Committee met last Friday, July 17th, as usual. And as usual, Brandon Saunders, head of resource allocation, will present the report. And just one comment, we really missed Julianne, who was out of town, who is normally the backbone for us, our committee meetings, but we look forward to seeing her next month. So, Brendan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Saunders. I'm an African-American male wearing a white and gray striped polo. And I'm happy to, of course, be your resource operation manager and take y'all through a little bit of how the rest of the year is going to end up looking like. We can move to the next slide. As normal, I included a breakdown between the administrative side of the agency and our grant side. Of course, our grants is its own little separate bucket, accounting for about 82%, between 82 to 83% of the agency's overall budget. For those that are a little bit more visual learners, I tried to expand from the information says the same in the table up top versus the visuals at the bottom. But I think you can kind of moreover see the impact, not only just large numbers, of course, that kind of sum it up. I won't read it across the board, but at the bottom, as the agency is looking to close the year out, we're looking for the bars at the bottom to represent more of the darker blue and less of the teal, which is basically pending those funds that are either committed or obligated, versus also the gray, which is just available funds. And as I'll go into the next slide, I'll speak it to a little bit more of the specifics of why there's available balance. Mostly that's driving this available balance, honestly, is the personnel services at this point in the year. We're about first month into the last quarter. And so, of course, the staff still has to get paid for the rest of the fiscal year. What also is driving this a little bit, especially in the contractual services line, is the Art All Night MOU. Actually, was a little bit of a irregularity, even though the MOU has been established. Our partner agency hasn't fully expended the funds for the event, but I'm sure that's right around the corner overall. The others are pretty much on track to be closed for the rest of the year. At the beginning, Deputy Director Markey mentioned specific variables for essentially what was going on with the budget. Long story less long, the agency's really been in a time continuum, and and we can go to the next slide, as a matter of fact. The agency in this slide is a breakdown of all the administrative services, the various categories, more of a breakdown than just the more of generic categories of supplies, contracts, other services. Those that are more curious, intellectually curious, can see the full breakdown. And as of last month, when the agency honestly did get to go ahead to not only just start spending for the rest of the fiscal year, but more of an expectation of what we can expect closing FY26, but the beginning of FY27 expenditures, especially around programming. I think we've heard all of the beautiful presentations before me kind of mention the various programming that is really kicking off. The agency has utilized its agency, for example, card more times than all the rest of the months, honestly, this past month. So summer is our season, and we will look forward to continue seeing the available budget go down, which I will say, and we can move to the next slide. One thing that is different in public finance, that's I would say it's a different mindset than what you would find maybe in like the private world, especially sometimes nonprofit. We want to expend all the funds as much as possible in our budget. So I appreciate when our managers are saving money, of course, and being intentional, but at the same time, we want to spend our funds so that we can show that we're utilizing our the budget that's provided to us. It's reaching all the communities that we support. Here, finally, is our grants budget breakdown. And for the most part, I would say that, and Nikita did a really good job of explaining all the different statuses of where everything is at in terms of the numbers, which you're seeing right here, other than, of course, large cap, which we kind of know what's going on there. What's probably left is most likely those grants that are maybe getting rescinded. If there are specific questions, I would reach out to your grant coordinator or, of course, their supervisors. But if there's available budget here, that's most likely the story. And that concludes my portion, of course, of the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions relating to the agency's budget, of course, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. Any questions, commissioners, on the budget? Or the finances? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, thank you. On to governance, Julianne.
Good evening. I'm Julianne, Commissioner Brienza. I'm a white woman of Italian and Irish descent, third generation. And as I've said before, I have this new 30% Spanish thing I'm trying to figure out. So maybe I'll figure that out soon and let you know. All right, the governance committee met on July 9th over Zoom, and in attendance were Maggie O'Neill, Dave Stedman, Reggie Van Lee, our chairperson, and Gretchen Wharton, our vice chairperson. And the staff that was present was Grace Allen, our people relations specialist, J.R. Russ, our public affairs specialist, Taylor Banks, one of our interns, and from Opportunity Consulting, we had Dr. Lindsay Brown and Anya Sharma. I hope I said your first name right. If I didn't, I apologize. All right. The governance committee met to review the draft of the 2026-2030 strategic plan prepared by Opportunity Consulting in partnership with the commission staff. Committee members provided feedback on the overall framework, implementation approach, performance measures, and the alignment with the commission's long-term vision. Committee members discussed the importance of incorporating measurable outcomes and implementation benchmarks, clarifying that the agency's grant-making philosophy and ensuring appropriate distinctions between the commission's governance responsibilities and the staff's operational responsibilities. The committee also discussed the need for realistic implementation planning that reflects the agency's capacity while supporting effective oversight and accountability. Opportunity Consulting is going to now present the draft strategic plan. It's critical that all members of the public take note of the upcoming opportunities to provide feedback on the draft before the commission considers adopting this plan that will happen at our August 17th meeting. And to close out, I'm just going to say our next governance committee meeting is Thursday, September 24th, and that is going to be our last meeting of this fiscal year. Can you believe it? It's exciting. All right, take it away, Opportunity Consulting.
Thank you, Commissioner Branza. Chris, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to share my screen with a slightly updated, shorter deck, given how much time we have left in the meeting. Great. Thank you so much. All right. I'm here on behalf of our team at Opportunity Consulting, including myself, Ananya Sharma, Iris Bond-Gill, Annie Crooks, and the rest of the team. We're so pleased to be at this stage of the process and look forward to the continued feedback from you and the community to refine this plan. So where are we? The commissioners wisely recommended that we summarize where we are in the plan and summarize the feedback to date as context for this draft plan. So we will try to do that in short order tonight. This process started off with the identification of research questions and a needs assessment to understand challenges, opportunities, and strengths within the commission's work and impact. Following that period, we shared a report of findings and a needs assessment. I will summarize those findings in just a moment. Following that needs assessment, we engaged in visioning sessions and a public engagement period where the question was less about looking backwards and more about looking forward to what the priorities should be. Based on those findings, which we will also summarize in a moment, we have produced the draft plan that you will see before you tonight. We have incorporated feedback we received from the governance committee 2 weeks ago, I believe. And the governance committee members received a summary of the minor edits and iterations that were made based on their feedback. We've not included that in tonight's presentation for efficiency in the presentation, but that information is available. Based on the conversation tonight and the public feedback session that will follow, we will then incorporate that feedback into a final strategic plan that will be discussed, as was just mentioned by Commissioner Brienza. So we are here about to turn over the draft strategic plan to you all and the public for feedback. We're going to do a flyby of some key findings from the process. Commissioners, you've heard this a bit before, so this is really a summary of that story. So hopefully this won't feel new. First, much of this will feel not like a surprise, but in fact, hopefully as an affirmation of what you already know from your lived experience in the community. First is that the creative ecosystem is strained. It is rich in talent and diversity, but ongoing challenges around affordability, space, capacity, persistent inequities, and political environment continue to strain arts and humanities professionals and the organizations that serve them. There are significant needs, not just for funding, but for connection and connectivity, infrastructure to do their work, and sustainability to live, work, and thrive in the district as arts and humanities professionals. Second, CAH's perceived role is primarily as a trusted, artist-centric funder and curator. We hear that every time we come to one of these meetings and your grantees or artists share their stories and share their appreciation for the critical funds they receive through the commission. But we also have documented that CAH is also perceived as a capacity builder, a convener, a connector, and a champion. And there's only greater desire for the commission to lean into those additional roles to support and supplement the grant-making role. Third, reach and impact. Without question, the numbers and the perception show that there is increased volume, diversity of applicants, grantees, and program. And it is very noticeable that the outreach and technical assistant efforts, which you all are familiar with the number of ways in which the staff has leaned in to provide more accessibility and training and technical assistance, those efforts are noted, they are visible, and they are greatly appreciated by your community members, including those who get grants and even those who don't get them but know that they have built their capacity through the process. This increased volume and the ongoing pacing of the funding and grant-making process continues to create strain on staff. We know we have new leadership on board in the grant in the grants department, and we look forward to seeing how potential additional listening and improving on the grant-making process can try to reduce some of that strain. And we hear very clearly from all segments of the population, including those that are well connected, that there's concern that community engagement beyond digital channels is necessary to meet people where they are. It's sort of, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. And for those who are less plugged in digitally, they are less likely to know about these opportunities. Moving forward in terms of the vision for CAH moving forward, There's a sense from both staff, commissioners, and community members that the absence of clearly stated shared priorities, particularly in this resource-constrained and shifting policy environment, serves as an undermining factor in terms of the organization's clear communication about why it does what it does, how it does what it does, and the choices it's making. Stakeholders lack understanding of what is a fairly complex funding and grant making context, and therefore lack understanding of the inevitable trade-offs that you as an agency have to make. And that perceived lack of transparency can erode trust and sometimes inhibit partnerships and collaboration. Lastly, internally, organizational effectiveness. There are clear noted improvements to staff culture and governance from all directions. There's a perception and a reality that data is not yet mined, published, and consistently used for management, decision-making, and public storytelling. There are some stubborn gaps in operational leadership, internal workflows, role clarity, and decision-making processes that many organizations experience. And these gaps contribute to challenges in both effectiveness and efficiency, as well as staff culture. And the overall absence of a steady, routine, annual planning and performance management approach also contribute to undermined effectiveness. The good news is that much of this is addressable and that there's consensus around the priorities that should come forth. When we moved into the second period of stakeholder engagement to ask folks to look forward, how should these challenges, opportunities, and strengths be addressed? We really found no new information, but just underscored clear priorities and themes. And these are the 5 that you see before you today. One is that there is a real call to strengthen communication routines, both internally and externally, so that communications and the actions that should follow are consistent, reliable, actionable, and inclusive. So communication, communication, communication. Number 2, particularly from those who have engaged in the application and funding process, there is a recommendation to focus on making the grant-making process itself, both before, during, and after, well understood, less burdensome, and more impactful, with specific concern and suggestions around right-sizing that process for those grantees, individual and organizations with smaller operational capacity and administrative support. Third, leveraging data, both to provide transparency to the processes and to support decision-making. There is a goldmine of data that the agency already collects that is not yet being put to all the good that it could. And you hear some of the updates already from staff as work is in progress on many of these fronts. Fourth, continuing capacity building. Whether we're talking to professionals and organizations in the field, existing grantees, staff, or commissioners yourselves, everyone has identified the need for additional capacity building, and that looks different for different roles. It's often about understanding your role, understanding your opportunities, and having the tools and support to do well by those responsibilities. And there's a number of specific recommendations around that. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, and 4 can all be done with more impact if the commission values and continues to pursue the deliberate partnerships that can support reach, participation, and capacity building. We heard lots of good news on this front about partnerships and collaborations that are already afoot, and thoughts and ideas about how those partnerships and collaborations can continue in support of these existing goals. So with those key findings and emerging priorities in mind, we're here to present the draft strategic plan. What I'm going to share tonight is really the meat and potato of the plan, not the fluffy document that goes around it, but the core information. I want to pause and do a time check with the chair. I see it's 6:57 and I think the meeting might end at 7. Should I continue with my presentation or please advise on time?
I think you should continue. I think we're prepared to stay a little bit longer.
Great. Thank you for the check. So the strategic plan structure, for those who have been less involved, I just want to reorient you to what the strategic plan structure is and how the commissioners, how you will interact with it. The strategic plan often starts, as it will here, with a mission, vision, and core value statement. Then there will be a set of guiding principles, kind of through lines that go through every goal and strategy in the plan that reflect the major themes about how the commission should consider going about its business. Then for a series of key, in this case, 4 high priority and high impact goals, there will be a goal statement and a set of key performance indicators, ways to measure the success of those goals, and to implement each of those goals, a series of strategies. That 1, 2, 3, 4 first 4 rows above the fold, that is the strategic plan framework that you will be voting to approve at the August meeting when you receive the final. Underneath the strategies, to implement each strategy, will be a set of activities. And the plan and the public materials shared tonight include a set of key activities that are meant to be referenced and to help people understand what is meant by the strategies. Those key activities, the governance committee did weigh in on, and there have been edits made to those. The staff will continue to co-develop and refine those, but those will be outside of the voted to be approved plan. They will be supplemental activities that will help implement the plan. The plan will be for 4 years. It will include both existing work that's underway now that you heard about tonight, and new strategies and activities. It's meant to be inclusive. So for example, an annual plan for the strategic plan for this upcoming year would want to include action related to the assembly, because that is an activity that is happening and takes time, labor, and effort with key milestones and assignments to key folks. That is an example of something that would need to be included in an annual action plan that supports this bigger strategic plan. And as was mentioned earlier, you'll receive the key performance indicators as well as recommendations for implementation tools with the final plan. So today, I'm going to focus on mission, vision, guiding principles, goals, and strategies. First up is mission and vision. The mission and vision statements you see below were actually established in the agency's prior strategic plan. Based on the feedback to date, we are not making any recommendations to change the mission and vision at this time. The governance committee agreed with that recommendation and did not put forth any edits either. So the mission statement, when you read it, really defines why you exist and what you do to achieve that purpose. The vision statement looks to the future. What does success look like if that mission is fulfilled? So the mission statement and vision statement go hand in hand. I won't.
So Lindsay, let me stop you. So could you clarify for us, this, for some people, it's the first time they've seen it. I've seen it already. We're going to get this out to all the commissioners. They'll have time to review it. And if they have questions or comments or concerns, to whom should they reach before the August meeting to offer that input?
Great question. I'm going to skip all the way to the end and we'll come back to it. So following today's meeting, we'll have entered into a 10-day comment period. So commissioners, staff, the public, grantees, anyone who wants to weigh in on this draft plan will have 4 key ways to do so. First, there'll be a big in-person feedback session tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the office. We'll be doing a virtual session on Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Zoom. That's all inclusive, and we hope all will attend. There'll be an anonymous comment form, and then there's an email address. So there's multiple ways to be in touch for commissioners as well as the general public and staff. We'll make sure that the commissioners have my email directly. So if you want to engage in a deeper conversation about this content, we certainly can do so. Good?
So this is going to be put on the website?
Correct.
It's going to be put on the website so the public, everyone can see it. I'm sorry,
You got it.
Julianne.
Yeah, I just want to add that we do have our August executive committee meeting where we actually look at what will be presented at that August meeting. And that is Wednesday, August 12th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. So all committee chairs are meant to go to that meeting. So that's going to be a good time for us to look at it before that August meeting. And she's got the pointer right on there. Right?
Yeah, but all commissioners are invited to the executive committee meeting as well. So everybody,
Absolutely.
all the commissioners have an opportunity. I just wanted to make sure that people didn't say this a lot fast. I have no input. There will be many opportunities. We'll get this thing to you. It'll be on our website. There'll be many opportunities between now and August 17th for the commissioners in particular, but the public in general, to comment on, read and comment on this. Just want to make sure people understood that.
Great. We'll take all the reinforcement on that as we can, and we appreciate it and hope all take advantage of the opportunity. All right, so the package of content that you will be reviewing, and that will be there will be feedback, a next draft, the 8/12 governance, I'm sorry, 8/12 executive session, and then a final meeting, includes the mission and vision statement, a description of the commission, oops, I apologize, a description of the commission's roles and funding philosophy. As has been described, the agency's primary role as authorized is as a grant-making agency. But we also know that the agency is perceived by the community to serve important additional community leadership roles that support its grant-making function and expand its impact. And this is a core part of the grant-making philosophy. This is a key edit that was made since the governance committee discussion about making sure that the commission's grant-making philosophy was articulated. I'm going to go all the way through the remaining 3 slides, and then we can come back if folks want to comment on any of these slides. Based on the key themes through this entire process, we offer 7 guiding principles that would serve as that through line. And these guiding principles are really supposed to reflect both the challenges and strengths, as well as the needs that have emerged that relate to all of the work of the commission. I will read these out loud briefly. That the agency's work should be guided by the principles of elevating the value of arts and humanities, honoring DC's unique creative and cultural identity, amplifying the collective impact, stewarding public resources responsibly and transparently, centering community and expanding access, grounding decisions in data, and communicating clearly and transparently. And you can see why these are guiding principles, because they are embedded in all the work that you do, but worth lifting up as a check on the way that you do business. And there are lots of ways that these can be operationalized, monitored, and received feedback on to ensure you're continuously improving in this direction. Goals. 4 big strategic goals for the next 4 years. Goal number 1, awareness. Increase understanding of the essential role arts and humanities play in DC's social, civic, cultural, educational, and economic vitality. Commissioners may remember some conversations in both committee and full executive session about ensuring that the commission was not only focusing on some of the value that arts and humanities play, but understanding and valuing the full set of values that the arts and humanities bring. 2, impact. Investing strategically in artists, organizations, and communities through equitable, transparent, and outcomes-driven grant making that maximizes public impact. You'll see that this goal is very much about improving the grant making process itself. Goal 3, leadership. Bolstering DC's creative ecosystem by continuing to serve as a trusted convener, connector, and catalyst for collaboration, innovation, and collective impact. And 4th, excellence. Strengthening the internal people, systems, governance, and culture needed to deliver exceptional public service and maximize your impact. For each of these goals, the question is how? How will the commission do this work? And for each of these goals, there are 3 to 4 core strategies. I won't read these in depth because of time, but you'll see that for each of these goals, there's a strategy. And then what you'll see in the background materials, which I've just included on a slide here, is that for each strategy, there is then a set of activities. Again, these are below the fold and won't be what the commission approves, but they are in your packet. They are in the public document. They will be part of the public review period so that the commission gets feedback on them, but they are not part of the core framework that will be approved. So as we already discussed, what happens next, there's these many ways to provide feedback and comments. Once that period is over, we will give you a final draft that reflects that feedback and includes measures of success. The executive session will have an opportunity to review that final plan. Any subsequent edits that need to be made will be done, and those will be brought forth to the public meeting on the 17th. Once the commission approves the plan, assuming a successful vote, following that approval, we will support the publication and dissemination of the full plan with the narrative included and provide a set of recommendations to support implementation. So with that, I will turn it to the chair for guiding questions from the group. And I think I will put this slide up perhaps as the summary slide, or I can take it down, whatever suits the group. Clarifying questions about content, process, or next steps?
Commissioners, once again, we have much more opportunity for detail, but if there's anything that's glaring at this point, a clear issue, concern, a major question that you really want answered, now feel free to ask it, but there will be other opportunities as well. We good? Silence means consent, right? Thank you, Lindsay. Great work.
Thank you, everyone. And again, all of those plugs for both commissioners, staff, and the public to get involved, please do so. All of that content will be up on the website tomorrow, and the communications team will be pushing it out through social and other means. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I will certainly harass my fellow commissioners to provide our input, but I also want to encourage the public, those who are listening, to go onto the website, look at the strategic plan, and please give us comments, because this is for you, and we want it to be for you, not just done to you. So we need that input. Next, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? If not, we can proceed to new business. I have one item on new business. You should have been distributed the proposed meeting dates for FY25, starting October 19th, November 16th. It goes through the list. And the list is being shown here. If there are no questions or concerns about the dates, I will take a motion to approve the meeting dates for the next fiscal year.
You got a meeting date on my birthday, okay?
Good. And that's just for you. That's just for you.
We'll bring a cake, yeah.
Great. So I will go through, we have to go through the list. And if you are in favor, say yes, if not, no. Commissioner Barry. Commissioner Barry, I see you. I can't hear you.
Yes.
Commissioner Brands.
Yes.
Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Habamana. Commissioner Kim.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Commissioner Mankiti. Commissioner Sims.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres. Commissioner Warden. Commissioner Stedman.
Yes.
Great. Mankiti said yes. Great, thank you. Oh, yes, thank you. So that's all that I have on my agenda. So I guess the next meeting of the commission will be held Monday, August 17th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. The time is now 7:11 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Benji.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've been pursuing this because so much of other planning lies.